Hey folks, this is Tracy with Scrappy's Rustics. In this video, I am going to share with you the most beautiful piece I have ever made in my entire life. However, it is the piece from hell. Anything and everything that could possibly go wrong, not once, but twice. Y'all are not even going to believe what happened. But in the end, I did manage to save it. It's going to sit somewhere safely. It will never be dusted. It will never be touched. You can just look at it because it's absolutely beautiful. So I will walk you along what happened during this process of the most beautiful piece that I've ever created from hell. And I'm excited to share it with you. Y'all, look at that. It is absolutely stunning. We will be using IOD air dry clay, the spring release 4-page Mays transfer book. Y'all, I love these roses. I love the colors. I love everything about this book. As a matter of fact, since this one got jacked up, and you'll see along the way, I have a similar piece, and I'm going to make another one. And this one's going to be even better and even more beautiful than this one. I hope. I'm going to try. So there's the 4 pages. It makes a wreath. However, I don't know if I've seen any. Well, I saw it on a dresser. Someone used all 4 pieces. But I like to use this one in sections. And I have several of my rose IOD molds. That one there is also from the spring release. That one's called, what is that one called? Juliet. It is one continuous, as you can see from my piece of resin there, continuous mold. And that is the Dainty Flourishes that I did not end up using. I was not 100% sure where I was going with this piece. However, in my mind, I kind of knew what I wanted, but it ended up coming out. It took a whole nother turn. I bought this antique. It had a funny family picture in it at one of the flea markets. It was so filthy dirty. It's very old. It's very fragile. The glass had, whoever painted the frame last, they painted it with a glass in it, so you can imagine what that looked like. It took me quite some time to scrape all that glass off and clean it up and clean the frame up. So I am using cornstarch, and in those bags is my IOD air dry clay. I'm trying to see here which ones, the frame itself is not that wide, and it does have like an angle on it. So I wanted to keep more to the small side of things. Like I said, I really wasn't 100% sure where I was going with this, so I thought I would just make some of the smaller molds and just kind of take it from there. Originally, I was going to go all the way around the frame itself, but I ended up not doing that. And where I started my placement, it all just came together, and then it fell apart, and then it fell apart again. So, yeah, this project from hell has been a roller coaster. However, I did learn some things, and I did push through. I didn't give up. In the end, it is all still together for this moment. So yeah, it's just, you just never know in life what things are going to happen, and you either got to get upset or you got to get smarter than it and try to roll with it and try your best to fix it. I don't know. I feel like as creatives, we do spend a lot of time fixing problems because things don't always work out when you go to actually do them. Being in your head and being actually doing is 2 different things, as many of us know. But I feel like that's definitely how we learn, how we build our skill sets, how we get more feathers in our caps of knowledge is by doing. So you could sit there all day and think about it and talk about it, but once you get down in there. So I am just pushing as I said, that mold there is one continuous, but I was just trying to get the smaller roses out of there. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm just going to cast a few and see what happens, y'all. I love air dry clay. I wasn't trying to be neat with these at all because I'm going for an older look to begin with. So I was okay. I like the air dry clay because it's not perfect. Resin would not have worked here because of, it would have if you got it at the right, before it cured, but it's kind of hard to see, but there is a lip around that whole rim. So having the air dry clay really helps you, especially when it's freshly casted because it's still pliable. I'm just sizing up what roses are in that mold just to see. But because the clay is still pliable, once you glue them down, you can kind of smash them and have them form to your frame itself. And by not being perfect, I also think it gives it that aged look that I was going for. I'm pretty excited to show you this whole process, because this piece took on a life of its own, and I'm pretty excited about it and sad about it, and then excited again, and then sad again. And now I'm just happy it's in one piece and I get to share it with you guys. So if you've never used air dry clay, any mold that you have, air dry clay is going to shrink and might crack by nature. Your mold, the size of your mold, the clay, your environment, the drying, all of it's going to matter. But what will help you is, that's the Tight Bond Quick and Thick. If you get your glue to the edges of all of your cast-in molds, it will help to adhere, and it's going to shrink and, adhere in its place. I ended up just putting them on there. I did cast some leaves because I had some open areas. So I ended up filling those areas with, I think it was like 3 different little leaves going left and right. And I love that I ended up with a little bit on the left and a little bit on the right. Now here I'm sizing it up to see which image I liked. I liked both for this. And I ultimately decided on this one. Y'all, look how beautiful that is. This piece is just crazy. This will be a piece I will never forget. Oh my goodness. So crazy how a craft can just, go left or right or backwards or upside down. So yeah, there's the one I end up using. I'm sorry. See, I love them both. So that other one actually is probably going to, I think this is going to work out, because the other frame I have is a bit different. It is antique, and it's the frame is so ornate. I think this is going to be good because that other one is, a little bit bigger, so it might be perfect. So that's just rubbing alcohol. Y'all, if you get the little spray bottle from the Dollar Tree, or even like the travel section, put some alcohol in there and just keep it in your craft stash. The thing is awesome, especially for any types of glass, just to get all the residue off and start yourself off with a nice clean surface. So anything that's round, this isn't round, but it is, what do you call it? Bubbled glass. This ended up being, this is where it all starts, really. It ended up being quite the feat to get this on. With transfers, it is a very slow process. I did speed a lot of this up, as you'll see when I get to rubbing on it. But because it is bubbled and not flat, of course, it's in a sense like a sticker. Had I taken the entire backing off of this and tried to lay it down, I think it would have been a disaster, because it would have been too much for me to handle. So here's my little trick. I'm cutting off the backing there, and I'm just taking a little piece on the top and anchoring it where I need it. Thankfully, I did that, because it's kind of hard to see in the video, but if you can look at more of like the creases that I end up with, because it's bubbled, doesn't want to lay flat, and really the transfer itself wants to lay down, but the carrier paper that it's on is kind of a not hard plastic, but it's not very pliable. So that's really what's giving me my resist, is the carrier sheet, which the transfer was attached to. But if the carrier sheet was a little more pliable and flexible, it probably wouldn't have been such an issue. So I started having troubles right there. So I took my time. This is really sped up. I took my time. Probably took me 45 minutes to get this thing down. And what I'm trying to do is work out any of the bubbles, creases, any of that stuff there now, before I peel off any more and have more to work with. So I'm just slowly working my way down, although it looks like I'm going fairly quick, but it is sped up like 6.5 times here because I didn't want to bore you to death with this. But just know, if this happens to you, just take your time, work it slow, bring it down slow, and do the best you can. If you end up with having some like folds, in all honesty, when the piece is all done and you kind of rub your finger over it and smooth it down, it's not really going to be that big of a deal. You'd rather have a crease than a tear. So I just got that one area left. I was trying to show you all the imperfections, but you can't really pick it too much up on camera. So now I'm rubbing and I'm making my way down. I am going slow, although it does not look like it. And I'm cutting the carrier sheet off as I go, because again, it's not working to my advantage. So I'm just doing a little bit, cutting it off and moving on. Look there, I didn't even really need to rub. Transfers love glass. They love anything that's slick, any surface like that. But you can pretty much put it on anything. Some go down no problem, some problem. I'm showing you a bubble there. That's the last little piece. But it ended up coming out actually pretty good. I don't really have any creases in it at all at this point. So as I said in the beginning, I really didn't know where this piece was going. This is pretty, but the backing that I had for this picture is just like a piece of old leather and junky cardboard. I'm just adding a little wordage there. I don't even know what it says. Roses 5 cents or something like that. $5. I don't even know. Oh, $1.50 something. Weathered wood is this DIY paint, weathered wood. I thought about putting a backing behind the glass. I just wasn't sure. It looked pretty, but then I thought, wherever you put this, whatever the wall color is, that's what it's going to reflect in the back because it's just glass. So this took ultimately 2 coats of DIY paint, weathered wood, and I painted it all of it there. And then if you're familiar with DIY paint, it's a clay-based paint. It will change color if you put it. Oh, look at that. I'm loving it already. I couldn't wait. Had to test it out. It will change color when you add top coat or wax or whatnot. So this is Pentart Mirror Mist. There's one for plastic and there's one for glass. Y'all, this stuff is so cool. And that's a varnish matte spray. Varnish mist. Again, I'm cleaning the back of this, the inside of this, the back of this with alcohol. I had to take the Mirror Mist off the website because that is my second bottle, and I do not know why, but every time I use this stuff, I even shake it, it leaks all over the place. I don't know what the problem is. I've emailed. Look, it does it every time, but this product is so great. It's a shame. I hope they can improve the bottle because it's really cool. In hindsight, I wish I would have done less. The mirror, it looks antique, but I wish I would have done less of the mirror effect, so I could have gotten more, because we're going to put black and umber paint on here, which helps give the reflection to the mirror, but also that comes through where the pieces are not solid. See how you can see those pieces that where it's not fully mirror? The paint will show through on this side. It's easier to see when you hold it up to the light, but there's areas where it's not full mirror, and that's where the paint will come through. I wish I would have done less areas, so that way more of the paint would come. So it just looked a little older and a little more antique, but I didn't. So, but this stuff is so cool. Like I said, I really hope. I know there's other mirror type stuff out there, so I haven't tried any others, but this stuff is really great. So I'm sealing the Mirror Mist with the Varnish Matte Mist. You're supposed to do this before painting it. And you always want to put I've seen people use it, you want to use black, but you can also incorporate like golds and browns, whatever the look you're kind of going for. You can get a 100% full mirror look using this. You just have to put more layers on. So I believe I did 2 layers of the Mirror Mist to get the look I wanted. So you're going to use a pouncer. They suggest a pouncer. It just gives you better coverage. And we're just using black acrylic paint. And I believe the other one is umber or brown oxide. I think it's umber. And really you couldn't see the umber in the end. I thought you'd be able to, like I said, had I left a little more openings than you would have. But it's okay. It was a good practice test. But also, this mirror stuff stinks. It stinks. There is an exact one for plastics, and I have used that, and that's pretty cool. That one smells too, and now we're sealing in our black paint and as our last step. So far, so good, right? Yeah, so yay, look, I'm happy. I was so excited about this because this mirror, this came out of nowhere. I kept thinking, this needs something. I just didn't know what it needed for the background, and I really took a gamble by putting this glass stuff on there, and man, it paid off. It really paid off, and I was super happy with it. And in the meantime, our frame is drying. I realize this is a long video, but there's a lot going on here, a lot of different skill sets. Look at me, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And then something happens, but we're not there yet. All right, so I want to put some white wax on my frame and to highlight, bring out all those details of my roses. But I decided this time I was going to try DIY patina as my top coat instead of wax. I usually do clear wax and then I go over it with my colored wax. But this time I thought I'm going to try the DIY patina, which is basically a medium, like a Mod Podge, a ultra matte, that kind of, look, bam! Look at that crack, y'all. Here's where it happens. There's another crack. This thing is so cracked right now that I'm upset. I don't know how it happened. It just happened. I don't remember it breaking, falling, anything. I do not know how it cracked. So I persevere at this time, and I'm going to pretend it's not cracked, and I'm going to think about how I'm going to fix this, because it hasn't fallen apart yet. It hasn't fallen apart. It's just cracked. Luckily, the transfer, I believe, is holding a lot of it together. So I painted the whole frame with I sealed the whole frame with DIY patina, which is going to allow me, I'm now putting on DIY white wax. And what the patina will do is it'll allow me to wipe the white wax back as much as I need to, because most chalk paints, clay-based paints, are very absorbent. And if you put the wax on, it just kind of sucks it up, and it doesn't allow you to take any back. If you don't get enough coming off with a dry towel, use a damp baby wipe or a damp towel, and that will allow more to come off for you. But I always start with a dry and see what happens, and end with a wet wipe if I need to, or a wet. And in this case, the roses weren't coming through. The top parts of the roses weren't coming through enough for me, so a little bit of a baby wipe there did exactly what I needed it to do. So I did this just one coat all the way around. Nothing perfect, just trying to get that white all down in the crevices and all around the smooth areas, just to make it all uniform and give it that antique look, and also emphasize all the details in the molds, in the clay, the roses. And there I decided to pour so much glue. I poured, I don't even know what kind of glue it is, some kind of weird Gorilla Glue, where you had to wet it. And I dumped it all over there, and I let that thing sit. It worked, y'all. It worked. I let that thing sit for like 2 weeks because I was scared to death to touch it. And then I was like, well, how am I going to get this thing in the frame now? Because it is so cracked. How am I going to, and it's beveled. So really, it doesn't sit in the frame unless it's upside down. So here I am taking pictures of it, y'all. I dropped my freaking phone on it and smashed it into a million more pieces, and it didn't fall apart. Y'all, I broke it twice. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned from my mistakes. I cannot believe I broke it again. Please share, please comment, please follow, please hit the notification buttons, do all the things. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something, because that was a lot of moving parts. I know it was long, so thanks for hanging in there with me, and I will see you guys in the next video.